All right. I know what you're gonna say. Before you say it down in the comments, I'm gonna say it before anybody else flames me. I know I look like Curious as George's dad today. I know I look like the man with the yellow hat. I know. But I love this shirt, man. I have a blue one and I thought it was cool, and then I got a yellow one too, so I was like, you know what? Whatever. Anyways, today we've got a topic that is really important, talking about 5 reasons why traders tend to fail. And we can actually branch this out, I think, to not just traders, probably investors, probably stock traders, probably just entrepreneurs in general. This is a reason why people tend to fail in the markets, and I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. So, point number 1 is unrealistic expectations. So a lot of times people come to the markets because they hear some sort of story online, they hear from somebody who made it big, they had a ginormous gain in the market, and they want to be a part of that, right? That's like one of the most common ways that people get involved with financial markets. So they come to the markets with this unrealistic expectation of, okay, I'm gonna take a couple $100, maybe $100, and I'm gonna turn it into a very large amount of money because I heard somebody in a news article do that, so I wanna be just like that person. That is a huge influence to people joining the markets because they hear about some ginormous gains. So I think realizing that markets, to the people who are actually successful in them, are a place to build wealth slow and steady, not overnight, is a ginormous wake-up call for a lot of people who get involved with this. The number 2 reason why a lot of traders fail out there is because of a short-term outlook. Like I mentioned, a lot of times people show up to the market and they're trying to make money very quickly. And the thing is, this is not something that we can do in just a matter of a few weeks. It took me about 2 years of dedicated learning and studying in the markets to actually start even seeing a profit. That's not making ginormous gains, that's not becoming a millionaire or, massively growing an account. That took 2 years of everyday obsession, studying, learning, practicing, demo testing, on and on and on, to actually get to a point where I was somewhat break even and then starting to make some profits. Okay, so having that short-term outlook is a ginormous catalyst for failure for new traders who quit when they realize that it's not going to take me 2 weeks, it's going to take me 2 years, maybe longer. I know people who have started to be successful traders after 5 years, 7 years, and even 10 years, and they're happy that they took the time to actually commit to it. Even though it took a long time, they're happy and it was worth the reward for them in the end. So I think the cool thing here is understanding that although you can't learn this skill in 2 weeks, or at least 99.999% of people can't learn it in 2 weeks, for the most part, the people who do take the time to learn it, this is a skill that you can use for life, and that's a really cool thing. So don't rush it, and the people who are out there trying to learn this really quickly, just take your time and enjoy the process. It's a lot of fun to trade, and if it's not, then you should probably move on to something else. If you don't enjoy it, then probably not for you. Number 3 reason why people tend to fail is a big one, and it's one that's not popular to talk about on the internet, but I think is very important to just say in an honest way, which is most people don't have the funds to trade, and that causes a lot of problems for them. Because they don't have a lot of capital to bring or they're willing to risk in the markets are not a place where it's easy for somebody with a little bit of money to make a lot of money. Because if it was that easy, then everybody would be doing it, right? The reality for markets, stock market, cryptocurrency, Forex, whatever you're trying to trade, is that the market there's a saying in the market called, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Basically, there's, times where things can work out really well for you, but there's no time where you're just gonna be making tons and tons of money playing legitimately, right? There's plenty of times where people have cheated on Wall Street and that sort of thing, and they make tremendous returns. But for the most part, for the honest traders and investors out there, the market has a no free lunch policy. And so having a tiny amount of money invested and trying to turn it into a massive amount is a very dangerous and unlikely to succeed game. So when it comes to low capital basis, well, what can you do? Well, there's a couple things that we've talked about here on the channel plenty of times, and even Will behind the camera has talked about this as well, is understanding that you don't have to have a ton of account size right now, because you can take the time to learn on demo accounts and slowly add or deposit into a real account if you feel comfortable, right? Going off of slow and steady, just making those slow gains, realizing that we should risk small on any sort of trade that we take, and go on from there, right? So understanding that you don't have to have a ton of capital and you don't have to make a bunch of money right away is very, very important for the success, long-term success of a trader. Is even if you don't have a lot of capital, find ways to work extra jobs, deposit into an account, and maybe even if you really have the skills, maybe look into some of these prop firms that are out there and consider trying to get funded. That's something that you could think about. And part two to that last one with capital size, leverage is a super, super dangerous thing. So a lot of times people get drawn to options, Forex, and maybe even cryptocurrency because of the idea of high leverage, because they get drawn in by this idea of, okay, so I don't have a lot of capital, but with leverage, I can double up, triple up, quadruple up my gains and actually make it meaningful. So instead of making $10 on my $100 account, I can make $40, $100, right? And that's the idea or the appeal of leverage. But you have to remember that for small capital sizes, leverage is super dangerous because the flip side can also apply. Meaning that if you were to 4 times your wins, you're gonna be quadrupling your losses as well. So you have to be careful out there. Leverage is a super, super big trap for a lot of new traders who get caught up trying to, use the advantages of options or Forex because they can get leverage, but really it's very, very dangerous to use in high quantities, in my opinion. All right, next one is probably the most cliche on the list, but honestly, probably the most important. It's a lack of discipline. So if you are trying to be an entrepreneur in any area of life, in my opinion, sad reality is that most people either don't have the passion or the willpower to commit to something all in. And that's kind of what it takes to be successful in almost anything in my experience and in my opinion, is you've got to be able to really dive deep into something and spend tons of time. I'll give you an example of something that I've come across in my life. So as I've grown my wealth over time, I've looked into other places to diversify. One of them being real estate. Now, I am a person that knows very little about real estate, and to be honest with you guys, I'm not a really crafty, tinkering kind of person, so I don't have a lot of skill with, fixing a broken pipe or something in my house that a lot of times people who get involved with real estate who succeed are all in on, right? They are very crafty people, they are very handy, they are very smart with their appliances and all that sort of stuff that I'm just not good at. If I were to get into that, that would not be something that's super passionate for me. That would be something that I would probably not do very well in because I just don't have the mental commitment. I don't want to do this with every ounce of my being, right? When it comes to Forex, when it comes to stocks, when it comes to investing and managing money, for me, that is everything. That's my passion. And if that is not how you feel about Forex or markets in general, honestly, it might not be the place for you. But I know a lot of you guys on this channel that watch, pretty committed to the videos here. I know that is you. So if that is you, then there is hope, because where there's passion, there's potential. And so when it comes to discipline, this is going to be huge for so many people, is understanding that you have to have this super, super strong mindset about what you're doing. You can't just, expect the world and not put in, the world equivalent of work. So understand that discipline is ginormous. I know it is very, very cliche to talk about. Everybody talks about it when it comes to entrepreneurship and trading and investing. But it is so, so key. And honestly, every successful trader I know is super disciplined and has, lots of psychological, training. They've gone through a lot and they've come out stronger. So understanding that is huge. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you got something out of this. But before we go, I think Will had one more thing you wanted to share with us.
Yeah.
Will's got a comment.
Yeah, there was a comment on the last video. Well, the second to last video when we were trying to flip the $100 account.
Yep, we did an account flip video with $100, and we were mostly just messing around on that video, but we did have a comment that I wanted to respond to because Will brought it to my attention. So we'll take a look at that one and see.
All right, so it was wild video. Personally, trading a $100 account wouldn't be worth it. I'm trying to flip my 100 into 6K. Not easy, but worth the try. I do feel insulted for being called an idiot for trying to flip an account. For that reason, I'm unsubscribing. Dun, dun, dun. Maybe this isn't the channel for me. With that said, understand the risk that comes with trying to flip an account. It's extremely risky. Good luck to everyone on their trading journey, though.
Yeah, so I actually like the fact that this person said, they were just honest with it. Like, honestly, even though I don't necessarily agree with trying to take $100 into 6 grand, personally, in any short amount of time, maybe years and years and years. But I know that for a lot of people who have that smaller capital basis, they don't want to hear that, and that's kind of, annoying. And I can understand that. If you don't have a lot of capital, it's like, it's frustrating. But again, going back to the concepts that I shared in this, it's the unfortunate truth of markets in my experience. I would be feeling dishonest if I said otherwise to you guys as viewers. I don't think that taking a tiny amount of money and trying to turn it into a big amount of money is something that is sustainable or recommended or even, something to think about, in my opinion. That is just my opinion, and feel free to disagree. But I would say that if you want to unsubscribe to a channel because of that, I would say, I have no incentive to tell something. Like, honestly, I could probably, if I just wanted to make money or if I just wanted to lure people in, I could probably go the other route and say, you could take $100 and turn it into a bunch of money. But I'm telling you from my experience, my honest opinion about this is to go the slow and steady route, because it is so much more rewarding long term, rather than the absolute turmoil that we saw in that video where I was trading $100, the swings on the account. Those are wild, wild swings that I don't think are sustainable. Now, if you want to take the risk on $100 and you want to trade it as aggressively as possible, that is on you, and that is not something that I personally would recommend, but it is something that is up to you, and if you understand and accept the risks, that's your choice. So thanks so much for watching, guys. This has been a little bit of a fun video to make, so I hope you got some sort of tips out of it. If you have anything else to add, comment down below in the comment section. I'm sure there's something that I missed and something that could be added, so let me know. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you back next time.